there's a lot of things that are shocking and unfortunate about the Neville community, the law of assumption community. But for me, what really disappoints me is if you're new to this stuff, if you're new to these manifesting concepts, perhaps new to spirituality, perhaps new to self-improvement. And so not like us, because like we came in before this whole thing, this wave of bullshit. What's really disappointing is that most people are going to find out about Neville these days through social media. And again, it's good it's out there, right? Because it wasn't out there like it is now 10 years ago. But the way they're going to find out about it is via, unfortunately, a lot of the time, this crazy community, this crazy, like negative, toxic, in my opinion, community. Toxic. It's totally toxic. And it's unfortunate too, because there are people in that community, as you alluded to, even people with very strong opinions who are way too critical of things like the law of attraction, but they still have worthwhile opinions. If it was just, they still have interesting viewpoints. I
agree, for sure.
It doesn't matter, because there's so much negativity around that it, like, even the people who are perhaps too pro Neville and negative against the law of attraction, which again is just insanity, but whatever, you can't even pay attention to that because of just the general presentation, which is, so I mean, if you want to, let's talk about the presentation some. The presentation is juvenile and it's fucking stupid. And I'm not going to go too far into it, but I have, both of us have a bunch of Neville Goddard videos on our YouTube channels. I've got a podcast as well. And like I said, I've written a couple of books about Neville. Like, the way that this stuff is talked about, in my opinion, as somebody who's tried their best to implement it in their own lives, and at this point has worked with a lot of people to integrate Neville's great ideas into their lives more. The way it's presented on YouTube, on Reddit, is not going to work for the vast majority of people. And it's so 100%. Watered down that it's not Neville's advice anymore. And quite frankly, I think one of the criticisms you can make in Neville is that his advice was never in many ways as easy as people wanted it to be, in the first place. Like, I think there are easier law of attraction teachers. Abraham Hicks in many ways is like maybe easier than Neville, for instance. Like, and there's plenty of other examples of that. Neville, if you do it right, and if you really resonate with his techniques, which I know you've discussed plenty, and I have discussed plenty, it's amazing. And I mean, it's like seemingly, like, I still think like the most magical manifestation formula that I know of is the stuff Neville talks about. But I did a podcast episode when I started my podcast like almost 2 years ago called like Neville Goddard Failures, and people were shocked when I posted that, and I'm like, excuse my language, but I was like, motherfucker, this is obvious. This is obvious. You think this fucking shit is working for most people? No way. No way. No fucking way. No way. And this is the thing. People have their heads in the sand. You got to use common sense. If this stuff is working as effectively as most people on YouTube claim, or the Reddit motherfucking morons, I got pulled into Reddit and was a moderator for a short period of time last year.
I saw that in one of your videos. You talked about
it. Like, it's fucking insane. Okay. So these people are not only insane, they're also fucking stupid. And I'm sorry I swear so much, but you can read my books or listen to my podcast if you don't want to hear me swear and discuss this stuff more civilly. The reality is, the YouTubers, the Reddit people, they're talking about it in this completely outlandish, fantastical way. That's not going to work for most people.
It's not.
And if it works for you, it's going to work for you once or a couple times, but not sustainably. You know, you gave
exactly.
that recent SP example, like the SP stuff. It's like, you know, and I wasn't even aware the SP thing was, just to give you an idea of how, like, you know, unaware I was of like how crazy the community was until like 2.5 years ago. The SP thing, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, because it is such a perversion, in my opinion, of what Neville talks about in regards to self-concept. So, but anyway, that's the community. And it sucks because you do have a lot of really interesting viewpoints if you look really, really, really hard. But what I tell everybody now is don't even fucking look. Don't even go there. It's garbage because, and I know because I
agree.
I mean, somehow my friend Maggie, you know, AKA Neville Goddess, who's got one of the best.
I've seen her. Yeah.
She's probably the most interesting Neville YouTuber. Somehow, I understand why now. Somehow she became moderator of the subreddit like last year. And I was like, holy shit, how are they letting this lady, because I knew how weird the community was. How are they letting this lady, like this brilliant lady who's in my opinion, a genius talking about this stuff, how are they letting her moderate it? I was like, this is fascinating. And I was, you know, I jumped on board. I tried to help her out. And our friend Cecilia who had been moderating for a while. Like, so I saw it all firsthand. Like the word that comes to mind is mental illness.